Hello Flosstube, welcome back to my channel Pages and Stitches. My name is Kelly and I'm super thrilled you're here with me today. This is my Flosstube number 4, I believe, my 4th update. Today is Sunday, February 20th. I think I have that date right. And I have a lot to share with you today. Since my last update, I've had a lot of craziness happen. I got COVID. I'm fine now. It was really mild. I'm back on the mend, back at work. Everything's back to normal. Down here in Texas, we've had some crazy winter weather. One week it was down in the 20s. Today it's like 74 outside, and I think it's gonna drop again later in the week and then go back up to the 80s. The thing about Texas is, like, they say, you know, like, if you're not sure what the weather's going to be, or if you're not dressed appropriately for the weather, just give it 5 minutes, it'll change. And that's completely true. So anyways, so I just wanted to say hello and welcome to all my new subscribers out there. We've had, in the last few weeks, I've had quite a few of you join the channel, which is fantastic. I'm super excited that you took an interest in my content and you want to see my updates. If you can hear little chirping meows in the background, it's because my cat's in the room and he's making biscuits on a blanket over here behind the camera. And when he does that, he like chirps. So I don't know. That's just one of his quirks. So yeah, so if you're new here, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. And I'm just really excited to have some new stitchy friends and crafty friends here on the internet. I know I've had a lot of people hop over to my quilting videos. If you are a quilter, I also make updates that I call Quilter's Corner on my channel. And I try to do one quilting update for every Flosstube update that I do. So if that's an interest of yours or a hobby of yours, definitely feel free to check those out. But yeah, I really appreciate all your comments and all your encouragement. I've had quite a few people say hi to my fur babies, and you know, they're little noisemakers, so they show up often. But yeah, thank you for everything. I can't say that enough. Thank you. Okay, so I want to start first and foremost with my reading update, like I normally do. So I finished The Priory of the Orange Tree, which is what I was reading last time I did an update. Since then, I've read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's a good book. Let's set this over here. And I have now started reading House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is the sequel, number 2 in her Crescent City series. So that's my reading update for those of you that are interested. Okay, I have quite a bit to show you, including a finish, which I'm super excited about. I was like so joyful whenever I finally finished this project. So I've got a finish, I've got a new start, of course some whip updates, and then I've also got quite a bit of haul to show you. So what do I want to start with? Let's do the haul first and get that out of the way. Okay, so my first bit of haul is this pattern, which is called Curiosity by Kooler Design Studio. And if you are familiar with like my stash video or just with me in general, if it's got a cat on it, I love it. I have a cat and he's, you know, such a goober. And so I have quite a few patterns with cats on them. And this was a bookshelf with cats on it. So I was like, duh, no brainer. And I really enjoy Kooler Design Studio's patterns. So this was perfect. I'll give you a little bit closer look. So these little guys are like playing with each other on a bookshelf. How stinking cute. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to start this one. So that was by Kooler Design Studio. Oh, and I should say this one came, not all my patterns came from the same place, but this one came from everythingcrossstitch.com. So I'll link everything down below like I normally do. Okay, so next I have a Petite Gold Collection by Dimensions. And this is called Overlook Cafe. I'm gonna try and get my ring light glare out of there. So it's just like this very like Mediterranean looking waterside cafe and sidewalk. And then we've got, you know, these beautiful blues over here. It is on 18 count white Aida. And basically everything is stitched except for what's in these clouds. Everything else is, well, maybe not the, like the tablecloths. If it's white, it's probably not stitched. So for a Dimensions, a Petite Dimensions, that's pretty full coverage because most of that has color on it. I mean, even this part in here, I think it's just like a cream color. There's a little bit of white in there, but everything else is stitched. So that was Overlook Cafe. And again, that one came from everythingcrossstitch.com. And then these last patterns I'm really excited about. So I mentioned before that Bella Filipina patterns are kind of like my new obsession. Of course, I love Mirabilia, don't get me wrong. But I do love Bella Filipina as well. So I purchased some more to add to my collection of what I already have. So let's go through those. Okay, so this one called Luna Mystica. So she is a companion piece to one that I showed when I did my, I don't remember. I've showed previously the companion piece to this, which is Sol Tropica. So this is Mystical Moon, or yeah, Mystical Moon, and then the other one was Tropical Sun. And they face each other. So Tropical Sun is in like greens and pinks, and I'll insert a picture. And then this one's in like purples and blues. Very lovely. I love that one. And then this one's pretty popular. A lot of people have this. And so that's kind of why I didn't purchase it initially, because I thought, well, you know, everybody's got it. But the more I looked at it, the more I fell in love with it. So I jumped on the bandwagon. And that is Enchantress of the Abyss. So she is just a stunning mermaid. And she's got, the color doesn't seem to want to translate very well, but this hair is like the most vibrant, like magenta purple. And like it's kind of pulling a little bit more like pink red on camera, but in person it's more on the purple side. And her tail is a really vibrant green, and she's got this beautiful like trailing bouquet of flowers. And I love her. She's gorgeous. This next one's another popular one that I've seen a ton of people do. And I've also seen a ton of, what's the word? Conversions for, which is actually what ultimately convinced me to buy this. Like I like the pattern, but I really like some of the improvisation work that people have done on this pattern. And so I may stick with the original, but I'm probably going to convert it. And that would be Bellatrix. So she's, of course, there's a cat. You know my pattern by now. She is this sort of witchy sorceress, of course. Maybe no relation to the Harry Potter Bellatrix. I don't know. I don't know where they got the inspiration from for this pattern. But she's got her little spell book and her staff and her flames and candles and stuff. And she just looks super cool. So I've seen her where these two colors are reversed. I've seen her with wings. I've seen her in like every color under the sun. There's somebody I'm following, and I wish I could remember the name of this person, but there's somebody I'm following online on Instagram who's doing her with blonde hair and like a pink outfit, and she looks kind of like Aurora, Princess Aurora, and I believe she's holding different things too. But I just thought, oh my God, that's super, super creative and fun. So she was added to my Bella Filipina collection. And this last one I'm super excited about because it's Bella Filipina's well, it's one of their newest releases. I don't think it's the newest anymore. So, and you'll have to forgive me for my pronunciation of this, but I believe it's Lakapati. I've looked up the pronunciation online and I've heard it like 4 different ways, and I've yet to hear it from an actual Filipino person. So she's a Filipino, or she's a goddess, a Filipino deity. Oh God, you get what I'm trying to say. She's a goddess of fertility, and she's holding grain, and she's got all these pots because she brought agriculture to mankind. And I saw her and I literally went, oh, I was just stunned, because this gold in her dress it made me salivate when I saw it. I just thought this color, or to be able to achieve this sort of like shine with thread, is fantastic. This sort of rendering of the folds in the dress, and then the color and the shine of the material, plus the pattern on this. I don't know what that part of her outfit is called, but it looks like a scarf. I'm sure that's not the word for it. If you are Filipino, please let me know. And please let me know how to pronounce her name correctly, because I've heard a bunch of like automated robot voices say it. I don't think any of them are saying it right. So surely I'm not either. But, and she's got this really stunning like halo, this sort of corona around her. So as soon as she was available, I jumped on the chance and I bought her. And so I should also point out that all of my Bella Filipina patterns I got from 123 Stitch. My favorite cross stitch store, which is Everything Cross Stitch, does not carry Bella Filipina. I don't know why. So I got these beauties from 123 Stitch. Okay, so the last bit of haul is really just like what I've kitted up for my new start. So I'll just wait and show you that when I show you my new start. So next, what I want to show you is my finish. And I was pretty close to a finish the last time you saw my whip update, so you probably know what it is, but she has been washed and ironed, and I am super excited to show you Elegant Geisha by Dimensions Gold Petite Collection. And I've added my start and finish dates as well. So this is my first finish of 2022, and I'm super excited about this because there's a lot on here that was a first for me. So I have never done Lazy Daisies before, and she's covered in them. They're all over her kimono, and they're in this tree up here. I've also never worked with the Dimensions gold thread. It's like a blending filament, I guess. And that was a trial in and of itself. But I figured that out, and you can see it's got gold like in this part, around here. It's in her hair, and then down around here as well. And then the last big first for me was this right here. Now, if I'm saying this correctly, I believe these are called bullion knots, or bullion stitches. And these were a real pill when you've never done them before. There was a lot of trial and error. Eventually I figured it out. I mean, I think they look okay. So, and well, I should say this. They're charted to have that gold in them too with the white thread, but I struggled probably for longer than I should have to get the gold thread with the white wrapped tightly enough so that I could get the knot to look presentable, if that makes sense. So if you've never done these before, let me see if I can try to explain it. You pull your thread up where you want your little knot to start, and then you put it down where you want your knot to end, but don't pull it through. You pull the needle back through the starting point, and then you leave it stuck in the fabric like that. and then you take the excess thread, wrap it around your needle a bunch of times, and then hold that in place, and then pull the needle through and kind of tighten it down. So it like the thread that you're pulling through is kind of what anchors it down. And then you do another little like basting stitch over the curved part to hold that in place, if that makes any sense. So it's an embroidery stitch and it should be done with an embroidery needle, which I don't have. So I was using the tiny little dimensions needle that came in the kit, and I don't recommend that. Lesson learned. It was very difficult because the needle was short. You kind of need a long needle to do what you need to do. And then the other thing that I learned with that is it's better to do those when, at least for me, it was better to do it when it's not in a hoop or a Q-snap or any sort of frame, because when you put your needle down and then try to bring it back up without actually pulling the needle through, that's actually very difficult to do whenever your fabric is stretched taut and then your needle is also like horizontal. So it was just easier for me to do it last and then take it out of the Q-snap that I had it in so that I could manipulate the fabric around the needle, because obviously the needle doesn't bend, so, or it shouldn't. So anyways, that was the very last thing I did. And then she got a bath this morning, and I have ordered a custom frame and mat for her. It's on the way. I ordered from a company called Custom Framing Solutions. And that was a website that Amy, the Globetrotting Stitcher, told me about. She uses them a lot. She advertises them a lot on her videos. So that's on the way here. I'll link Amy's channel down below. If you're not watching her, you should go watch her. She's fantastic. So whenever let me show you my back too, because everybody wants to see people's backs. It's not neat at all. I mean, you can see I carried threads. I don't care. I like this from the front. I mean, can you tell? No, you can't. So I was at this point, like with the French knots and everything, all the specialty stitches left, I was just so tired of starting and stopping threads. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to carry my threads. I did not care at that point, and I still don't. So anyways, whenever my frame comes in and I get this framed, I don't know if I'm going to lace it or if I'm going to pin it or some combination of the two, which should be soon. The next time I do an update, hopefully I'll have an FFO for you, which is a fully finished object for those that don't know. So fully finished meaning it's framed or mounted or etc. Made into a pillow or however you intend to display your project. So she will be framed. The mat I ordered is kind of like the same color as this background bit here. And then the frame is just black. Very simple. Anyways, that's my first finish, and I'm very happy with her. I hope you're happy with her. Let me know what you think. So because I had a finish, I allowed myself a new start because I wanted to, and you're not the boss of me, so you can't tell me no. Okay, and I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who's been keeping up already, because I already said that I was going to be starting this. I started my Christmas stocking by Kooler Design Studio. This is Christmas Cuddles stocking. No surprise, it's got a cat on it. And this pattern came from Everything Cross Stitch, but I believe it is also available on 123. I'm sure it's available at most cross stitch retailers. You know, this is obviously a very popular designer. So yes, I got this started, and let me kind of go through and show you how I kitted this up, because I want to. So I've told you before about these sort of like floss drop plates that I got on Amazon, and I kitted this up with the same plates, and I just taped the dimensions numbers to the plates. And then let me kind of show you the color palette. very warm and rich colors. Let's see if I can twist all those together. And the really cool thing about this pattern, somebody asked a question about it at on my last video. The cool thing about it is there's no beading, there's no crazy specialty stitches. It's literally just back stitching and like probably like 7 French knots to make I guess they're like holly berries in the garland up here. And that's it. Everything else is just full cross stitching. So let me show you the project. Actually, before I do that, I totally forgot to say, for Elegant Geisha, she was done on an 18 count ivory Aida, full cross, except for the background. These little bits were done in half cross. Everything else was full cross. Okay, so the Christmas Cuddles stocking. So, the pattern, where is it? Over here. I got everything spread out everywhere. Is done on white, and you'll see that around the stitching itself, it's got like this white border. And at first I thought that was just like, I don't know, it was just some sort of like frame around the picture. But based on what I can see of the actual pattern, it's intended to have like a border around the stitching. And like the edge of the actual stocking, the finished stocking, is right here where this line is. So because of that, I haven't really decided if I want to keep that border or not, or if I want to stitch the edge of the stocking like right up to the stitching. I don't know yet. I'll see what I think. But because that part of the fabric is exposed, I didn't want to just do white. So I have some leftover, I shouldn't say leftover. I have some old Aida cloth and old cross stitch patterns that I inherited from my mom whenever she was doing the hobby and then stopped for a really long time. And one of them, one of the Aida pieces that I got was this really beautiful like emerald green Aida that's a 14 count, which is what the pattern calls for. And I checked the measurements. It happens to be the perfect size. It might just be like a hair too short all the way around if I was actually planning on framing it, but since I'm not, and it's gonna be finished in a stocking, I'm not worried about it. So here is my start. Never mind my rib cage over here. And this is that green. There wasn't an actual color listed on the fabric because it was old. It came from an LNS that I think went out of business in like the early 2000s. So I couldn't tell you what the color's called, but it's a 14 count Aida. And I've just started on the garland across the top here. So this is like the mantle. And then we've got this really pretty green garland going in and out with this sort of like red trim. And this is the far side. This is the side where like the bend in the heel is. And this is the toe side. And it'll probably go to about here before it goes down into the toe. And like, let me pull it back. So like way up close, you can see like there's this really stark color difference, which kind of worried me at first because I thought, ooh, there's a bug in here. I hope my cat gets it. Anyways, there's this really stark like color change in the leaves here, and that really kind of worried me at first because I was like, I don't know how well it's rendered, if it's gonna be that, you know, noticeable. But then when you pull it back, it actually looks better. Like it looks, you know, just like a little bit more dynamic. So, I mean, you're supposed to view art from 6 feet away anyway, so if ever you have doubts about your pattern, look at it from 6 feet and then see what you think. So anyways, this is my new start. I will put the date on here. I started it in February. I'll probably put it like right here. It's my start date. And then put the finish date on the other side. So yeah, that's Christmas Cuddle Stocking by Kooler Design Studio. So the pattern actually calls for 3/1 for full cross for 14 count. Yeah, 3/1. I'm not doing 3/1, I'm doing 2/1. The reason being is I just prefer a loop start, and I don't know how to do that with 3 strands. And I'm perfectly okay with the coverage. If the Ada was white, then I probably wouldn't be, but because my Ada is like a darker color and all the threads are kind of on the brighter or the darker side, I'm okay with it. Like the coverage doesn't bother me. Okay, I have one more whip to show you, and then we'll talk about plans and go from there. Okay. So the last whip that I was able to get some stitches done on in these past few weeks was my big full coverage project, and that is my Woodland Castle by Designworks. So when you last saw it, I had started this section over here, but I only had just like a little bit up here, and then some of that orange had just started to go in, and I've done a lot more. So once I get down to here, I'll be 50% done with the whole project. And then of course, if I remember, or if I can find before pictures, I'll insert those before I show you my actual progress. So let me bring you in for a little bit closer look. Yeah, so there's some cool motifs that are starting to appear. So like this is a butterfly. This is the head of a bird coming in right here. And then I have this really cool butterfly that just showed up over here. And that's really pretty. So once the back stitching goes in, obviously you'll be able to see it all better. And then all this orange over here is just finishing off what these little flower bits are. So yeah, that's Woodland Castle. There she is in all her glory. And this is a 14 count white Ada. And this is 2/1 full cross. Okay, I said that was my last whip, and that was incorrect. I also worked on Frederick the Literate, which is a Dimensions collection. Let me get my needle like up and out of the way. Dimensions collection. Just the regular collection, not the gold collection. And as you can see, I was able to finish Frederick's head. Isn't he the cutest? I love it. So like once the back stitching goes in, you'll be able to see like his closed eyes and his little nose and whiskers, and you know, the details on his toes and his fur and stuff. But I mean, you can just see this little guy's pooped. He's just so tired from all the learning he's doing. So, and then of course I've got I really need to take my needle minders off of here before I show these. This is my science bitch, and then I'm literal trash. Why I chose those for this project, I don't know. I just grabbed them, they were available. So this shelf continues on till right about here. I believe this is the edge of the project there. And this is the top left corner of the bit. And so the pattern's kind of divided into 4 sections. And so I'm going to do this quarter, and then I'm going to go this way and finish the shelf because it just continues that way naturally. And then I'll go down and come back around. So I'm going to finish this quarter before I move my Q-snap. But I've got some books coming in here. This one is done, this book here. It just needs the title and like the back stitching. And this, all the title work on all these books is that gold thread, like I was telling you, I worked with in the Elegant Geisha project. So we'll just see how my second foray is with it. Wish me luck. Okay, so this is one book. This is just like the side of it. And here's the front. And then there's some more books over here. And then this, right in here where this gap is a fish that's like mounted on a stand right there. And then back this way you get more books. And then there's like a repeating of this pattern up here. And that's the top of it. So yeah, and then of course, you know, I'll try to insert a picture so you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to picture it in your head. And then more books this way. And the cute thing about these books is they all have cat themed titles. So you have like Bye Bye Birdie and stuff like that. And then more books down here. Yeah, so this is Frederick the Literate, and the fabric is 14 count black Aida, and it is 2/1 full cross. And I believe the only specialty stitching is back stitching. I don't even think there's French knots in this. I could be wrong about that though, but I will, if I'm wrong, I'll put it down below. So yeah, that's Frederick. And so I think I actually did show you all my whips this time. Yes. Okay. Come here. So Milo wanted to come say hi. He's wandering around down by my feet because he's hungry and he's ready for dinner, but he still has like an hour before we even get there. He's just being a pest. Say hi, Milo. Say hi, everybody. Okay, go play. Okay, so, let me think. I think, if you've left me a comment, I'm usually pretty good about getting back to you quickly. I will double check that I've actually responded to everybody, but I think I have. But somebody said something that I wanted to talk about. So a friend of mine posted a comment saying, I think she posted it on my Tools of the Trade video. She was saying she felt like she was kind of in like the dark ages because she was still using hoops. And I just wanted to say that whenever I first discovered Flosstube and whenever I was first thinking about starting a Flosstube channel, there were moments where I felt really discouraged because I kind of also felt like I was behind in terms of the type of projects that I was doing and the tools that I was using. And I think part of that is because while we aren't really like a competitive community, we are an opinionated one. So, and that's not to say that that's wrong. But I too felt a little bit like some people were telling me, you know, unless you're doing this designer with, you know, hand-dyed linens and silk threads, then what are you doing? And I just thought that I found it really discouraging because at the time I think I only had 2 kits and a Q-snap. And I was like, oh, well, if my stuff's not good enough, then who cares what I'm working on? And so I just wanted to pass along to anybody who might be new out there. Like, if you're using hoops, that's perfect. Keep using hoops. If you're, no matter what sort of like frame you're using or designer you like or fabric, you know, if you're an Aida diehard, that's perfect. Keep using Aida. All of the projects I showed you today were on Aida. I love Aida. So at the end of the day, it's your hobby. And if you're enjoying it, then you're doing it right, regardless of what anybody else says. If you're using your hoops, if you're using whatever needle or thread or, you know, whatever designer, if you exclusively stitch kits, then keep doing that. If you like it, keep doing it. If you want to branch out, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Because ultimately, this is for you and nobody else. Yeah, I think I had 2 dimensions kits where dimensions and design works when I started, and I kind of felt really discouraged by a lot of, I won't name names, I certainly won't, but there was a couple of people that I'd watched on Flosstube, and they kind of were just like they turned up their nose at the kits, and I just thought that was really discouraging. And then I discovered the like Russian community, like Russia and Ukraine and Latvia and Lithuania and like that side of the world, and people over there like almost exclusively stitch dimensions kits and collect them avidly, and will pay a lot of money for them. So I don't, in those communities and those cultures, cross stitching is like super significant. You know, they cross stitch towels and wedding garments and home decor and stuff like that, just as a part of their, and clothing and you know, the like, just as a part of their culture. And so I thought like, okay, well, if there's these women and men who like these kits and it's culturally significant for them, why is it bad for me to? And at the end of the day, it's not. Like, you know, it kind of seems obvious when I say it out loud, but you know, when you're new to a community and you're not totally comfortable with what you're doing yet, you don't really have any friends in the community yet, or you know, that kind of thing, it's easy to feel sort of alienated. And I just want to warn people against doing that. You know, it's okay to have an opinion. Obviously, we can all have opinions about what we have. Just make sure you're not gatekeeping the community, because the more the merrier. You know, the more people who come hang out with us and share the projects they're working on and their expertise, the more we learn, and the more we grow, and the more we're able to enjoy it, I think. So I just wanted to make sure that I said officially, you know, if you are enjoying what you're doing, then that's all you need to worry about, because it's your project, it's nobody else's. So who cares what anybody thinks? Yeah. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. Okay, so before I sign off, let me just say plans for the next few weeks. So what I plan to do before my next update is I want to get some more work done on my Woodland Castle. That's my biggest project. And so my plan is, or my goal is, to put in at least a few stitches a month on that project, just so I can constantly see progress, because that's my biggest one. If I can get that one closer to the end every month, then, you know, I'll feel better about working on it. Also, so my other 2 projects, my other 2 whips that I'm currently actively working on are my 2 fancy ladies. I've got Ophelia from Mirabilia, and then I've got my blue Victorian fancy lady that I got on Etsy, who is unnamed. I'm gonna have to name her. Maybe we should give her a formal name so that I can refer to her by that instead of blue lady. Those 2 didn't get touched this last month because I was working on these other things. So those 2 are going to be my next big focus pieces for the coming update, as well as my Woodland Castle. And then if I have some extra time, or if I'm just feeling like I desperately want to, I want to put in some more stitches on my Christmas Cuddle stocking, because that one has a deadline. It needs to be done before Christmas time. So that is everything, I think. Next time I see you, hopefully I'll have my Elegant Geisha fully finished. And I believe the frame is on the way. I know it's shipped, so I don't know how long it's gonna take. I think it's coming FedEx, so it shouldn't be too long. But yeah, that's everything. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Anything you'd like to say or contribute to the conversation, leave it down below. And anything I mentioned, of course, I will link in the description box. And I believe that is everything. All right, so until next time, happy stitching. I hope you enjoy your projects and you make lots of progress on them. And if not, then oh well, there's always next month. So have a good weekend, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.